So, ladies and gentlemen, our good supporter of the podcast, Travis Cook, has been giving us more suggestions of people he thinks the followers of our great podcast series would really, really like to hear about. Now, he made some very good suggestions, and I want to publicly thank him, but I also want to give you an opportunity to read up about these players before I do the podcast, because there's some really good suggestions. So you can go online, check out their hockey card, check out their regional recognition. So here's a list of some of the players he wants me to look at. Jim Nielsen, Ned Harkness, Bronco Horvat, Pierre Palat, Vic Stasiak, Jack Bionda, Marcel and Jean Pronovost, captain obvious there. He mentioned Charlie Hodge, but it's already been done. Denis Dupadet, Gilles Marat, Andy Heberton, and this guy, which is the information on our first of the, what I'm going to call the Travis Cook podcast series. Might as well name it because he's given good suggestions. Abe DeMarco. Now, Abe DeMarco was probably one of the most beloved players of his era. Now, born in North Bay, Ontario, May 10th, 1916. He skated with four of the most popular franchises of the original six, except for the Montreal Canadiens, New York Rangers, Boston Bruins, Toronto Maple Leafs, and Chicago Blackhawks. Now, he played junior and minor hockey for 4 years, from 1933 to 1937. Now, DeMarco's this is DeMarco Sr., by the way, just to remind everybody. Now, Abe DeMarco Sr. Was what you would call a very, very strong two-way player. He was active for a number of years. Well, you know what we're going to do with this? We're going to do two podcasts in one. How's that sound? Because I don't want to mention one without the other. Now, the senior Abe DeMarco, born May 10th, again, 1916, was 6 feet, 165 pounds. Got his big recognition after he had a strong minor hockey career by playing with the Baltimore Orioles. Yes, there was a Baltimore Oriole hockey team in EHL in 1938. Moved on to the Blackhawks in 39. Scored one goal in 2 games. Then skated with the Providence Reds of the IAHL. 1940, he played with the Blackhawks and the Providence Reds. Providence Reds were the IAHL at the time. He had 5 assists in 18 games with the Blackhawks and 5 goals in 20 games with the Reds. Now, wartime, he played with the Reds for 3 more seasons before graduating back to the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Bruins in 43, where he had actually a big breakout for the Bruins in the 43 playoffs with 3 goals in 9 games and 4 goals in 3 regular season games. Now, in 44, he split time with the Bruins and the Rangers with 39 games, 14 goals. 45, 46, 47, again played with the Rangers, had 2 back-to-back 20-goal seasons. But in 48, he found himself back in the AHL, where he played 5 seasons. And ironically, he played with 3 teams in 49, Cleveland, Washington, and Buffalo. His best season, of course, was with the Bisons in 1950, where he scored 40 goals in 70 games. Now, in 1943, he found himself with the North Bay Trappers of the NOHA and wrapped up his minor pro career with North Bay in 59. Now, NHL totals, 72 goals, 93 assists for 165 points in 210 games. Now, he also coached as well with the Indianapolis Chiefs in the IHL in 1961 and also with the North Bay Trappers in the 68 season. So he was very dedicated to North Bay. Now, we're going to talk a second about his son, Abe DeMarco Jr., because he was also very beloved. Now, he was born in Cleveland around the same time that the senior DeMarco was playing, and actually became his first recognition with the North Bay Trappers of the NOJHL in 1966. But in '68, he became a big part of the Kitchener Rangers program, scoring 9 goals and 30 assists in 49 games. '69, he found himself with the Ottawa Nationals of the OHA Senior League, and eventually graduated to the Omaha Knights the next season. Predominantly on defense, although sometimes he would play the forward line. I saw him do that in the NHL. Now, in 1970, he ended up with the New York Rangers and played in the Rangers Stanley Cup run 5 games. Back to Omaha in '71, but back to the Rangers for a couple of games, and then he found a permanent place in the NHL over 10 seasons. Now, he was probably considered one of the best defensive defensemen of his era. He played with the Rangers between '71 after the call up and '73. Found his path with the Blues before the '73 playoffs. The Blues, he had a great start with the team with 13 points in 14 games. St. Louis kept him for like a third of the '74 season, but then he found himself with Pittsburgh. With Pittsburgh, he had his first combined 10-goal season in the NHL as a defenseman. Now, '75, he found himself on the road again. Started the season with Pittsburgh, but then played in a very, very strong development team in Vancouver in '75 that also played Montreal Canadiens in the quarterfinals that year, played 2 games. '76, he found himself moving again from Vancouver to LA, and '77 season, he had a third of a season with the Kings before being sent down to Fort Worth of the CHL. '78, he found himself in the WHA, 6 goals and 8 assists for 14 points, and in '79 wrapped up his career with 3 games with the Bruins. Now, DeMarco's totals were very, very strong over his number of campaigns, but the reason why he shifted teams a lot is not that he was a burden to any team he played with. He was in demand, ladies and gentlemen. And I still remember that season in Vancouver with Dennis Kearns and the other strong young defensemen. You know, Vancouver had a very underrated team in '75, and he took Montreal to the limit. And I remember Danny Galvin said, give this team a couple of years and they're going to go far. And sure enough, within 6 or 7 years, they were in the Stanley Cup Finals. So Danny Galvin predicted it, and Abe DeMarco was part of that development process. So WHA totals 6 goals and 8 assists for 14 points. NHL totals 44 goals, 80 assists for 124 points. When Travis made the suggestion, I figured he was also mentioning, a little bit to mention the father. And let me tell you something. It was a family tradition in that squad, because the father was like the son, very, very talented. So, now getting to the senior DeMarco, he was a person that motivated a lot of people in North Bay to seek out hockey. He was a role model for many players. Now, he did as well, was in the Montreal system for a short while in 1949, but eventually did not make the big team. So it's quite interesting. So that's the story of Abe Sr. and Abe Jr., both well-talented players. Again, the list of Travis Cook's requests will be looked at and taken care of in the coming days. And some of those suggestions were some I was going to do, but I wanted to talk to my friends in Quebec about the Pierre Pilote podcast, because I wanted to clarify how much involved he was in coaching, because I know that statistically, especially Internet Hockey Database, has missed some of Pilote's coaching career, and we'll talk about that in the future podcast. Have a good day. Bye.